Hey, just wanted to talk for a quick couple minutes about starting off your lit review, or if you're stuck in your lit review. If you're in an EDD, you should be thinking about 30 to 35 pages for your chapter 2 of your DRP. And that can sound pretty daunting, right? Pull together all the literature, you can get lost in, all the studies for months, and somehow you're supposed to coalesce all of that into this 35-page document. So the key here, first of all, is to have a really good outline. And that outline should be at least 2 levels. So for example, whatever your study is, you're probably going to have 3 or 4 major sections in your chapter 2 lit review. And that means that immediately that 30 to 35 page document becomes a collection of 8 to 10 page documents, right? Because what you're doing is you're stringing together different chunks of the literature that make sense for your piece. So the first level of your outline would be Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, 4, for example, if you had 4 sections plus an intro and a conclusion. And then, within that, within the section, you're going to have some stuff you want to talk about, right? So here's my first big section, section 1, and within that I've got 3 sort of big topics I need to discuss, and that becomes 1A, 1B, and 1C. And then notice that all of a sudden that 10-page chunk or section has now become a collection of 3 or 4 page chunks, right? 1A, 1C, and so on. So the key here is that dive into the literature, collect the studies that you need, start organizing them, and start labeling them 1A, 2C, 3B, whatever. So you kind of know which studies go with which, and then recognize that if you only need to write 3 or 4 pages on a certain subtopic, 2B for example, that you're only going to need 7 or 8 studies to do that, right? That's plenty of studies to write 2 or 3 pages on, and that means you can stop looking in the literature for more research. You have enough. And so the key here is to run off your outline, figure out what your chunks are, and to attach tentative page numbers to them. So section 2B is going to be 3 pages. Section 2C is going to be 1.5 pages. Section 1B is going to be 3 pages, whatever, right? And so what you're doing here is you're sort of adding them up along with some stitching paragraphs, intro and conclusion paragraphs to sections, stitching paragraphs between sections, intro and conclusion for the whole chapter to get up to 30 to 35. The goal here is not to do a massive, comprehensive, I found every study out there literature review, right? This is an EDD, it's practitioner focused. The goal is to knock it out and get it done. So use your outline to good effect. Figure out what your 3 or 4 big sections are. Figure out what the rough page counts are for each subtopic within there, right? 2 pages here, 3 pages there. And so you should be able to send me a draft or have an ongoing outline for yourself that shows the 2 level, at least the top 2 levels of your outline, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the subtopics under it, 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and so on, right? And then you have page numbers, page totals attached to each of those, right? 2A, B, C, and D is going to be 2.5 pages, 3 pages, 1.5 page, 2 pages, right? And that adds up to a 10 or 11 page section 2, right? And that's kind of how you do it. And hopefully that chunking will help you get unstuck, will help you limit your search for literature, so that you stay within the contains of what's necessary and not spend extra time finding literature that you don't need. Helps you attach literature to different sections. This is a 2B research article. This is a 3C research article. And also helps you focus your writing time. So on a Saturday morning, right, when you've got an hour and a half, your goal is not to write a 10-page section. Your goal is to say, in this hour and a half, I'm going to knock out this 1.5 page subsection, right? Or I've got these 3 hours on a Wednesday evening. My goal is to knock out these 3 pages, section 2A. Right? That's the idea. And if you can do that approach, your literature review in terms of chunking, limiting your research to what's necessary, and if you have extra time, spend it on writing, not getting more studies that you don't need, your literature review should flow pretty nicely, okay? So get your outline crafted, figure out roughly how many pages you need for each section, and then within that each subsection at the level 2, level of things, and then start attaching literature to those, and then make sure I'm CC'd on your outline as a working document so I can kind of see how you're doing and how you're making progress. Holler if you have questions. Hope this is helpful. Thanks.